In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear parking brake shoes on this Nissan Maxima. This will be located behind your rear brakes. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. After completing that, we're going to remove all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts so we can get the wheel off of here. Now that we have the wheel off, we have a clear view of our rear brakes. We're going to have to disassemble these so we can make our way along the back side. Now with that said, we're going to start by dislodging our caliper. We do not need to remove the caliper slider mounting bolts. We'll just make our way right to the caliper bracket mounting bolts. That's the larger bolt heads you can see back here. Now for each of these, we're going to be using a 19mm. I like to start with the bottom one, which is located behind this control arm here. We'll just go ahead and break this free. Start loosening it, but what you're going to find is it only really comes out so far. At that point, we'll have to pause. We'll continue on to the upper mounting bolt. Once we have that one fully removed, we should be able to shift this around enough that we can remove that last mounting bolt. We'll slide the caliper out of place. You just want to give that a quick inspection. Typically around where the pads are is the most important area. We'll hang it aside, putting no pressure on our flex hose. Moving along, we're going to remove our brake rotor from the area. Just go ahead and take hold of that. We'll give it a little wiggle. It should slide out of place. If it does not, you might have to de-adjust your emergency brake shoes. If that's the case, go ahead and remove your rubber plug and make your adjustment. Ours moves pretty well. A quick inspection of that brake rotor. Now that we have the brake rotor off of there, the next thing we're going to do is pay attention to our parking brake shoes, which we are removing. To remove your parking brake shoes, we're going to make our way along each one of the shoes. There's going to be a mounting pin. This pin also has a clip and a spring. For this pin itself, I'm just using a flat blade screwdriver directly in the center area of the pin. We'll press this towards the backing plate, and then you can turn it one direction or the other and start releasing pressure. What you'll find is it eventually breaks free and wants to make its way out towards us. Should be able to pull that right out of place. Double check, make sure it's not rotted and weak. A little bit of rust like this is okay. This looks like it is reusable, so let's continue on. With that shoe dislodged, let's pay attention up along the top at our adjuster. Continue on by taking hold of the shoe that you just dislodged, start pulling it away from the adjuster, remove the adjuster and the spring that's located just below it. If you need to, you could pry this shoe rearward or typically just take hold of it by hand and pull this out of place. There's part of that adjuster. Just get the rest out of there. Now we're going to have to completely disassemble, clean, and re-lubricate this, but we'll do it once we have everything apart. Now we can take hold of that shoe, maneuver it around so we can get the spring out of place. That just falls right out of each one of the 2 ports on those shoes. A quick inspection of that. That feels good. Let's continue on with this rearward shoe. We're going to have to start removing the lower spring. Removal of the lower spring is easiest if you dislodge the rearward shoe from its lower mounting point. I'm just going to use a long flat blade screwdriver here. We're going to use this for some leverage. We're going directly up against the wheel bearing hub and up against this ear right here. We should be able to gently start prying this out and away. Okay, things are moving along. Just want to try to get underneath one of these ears here. Now we should have plenty of slack from this lower spring. Go ahead and use some pliers if necessary to pull that out of place and remove that rearward shoe. Let's fully remove that lower spring. That just makes its way over to the other shoe. Just holding onto that spring still. Should be able to slide it right out of there. That spring looks good. Move along to our forward shoe mounting point. You know exactly what to do. Go ahead and use your flat blade screwdriver. We're going to press in on that pin and we'll start twisting it one direction or the other till it dislodges. Then we can remove it. There it is, friend. Before installation, we need to do a little cleanup. Let's start with the backing plate, the area that the parking brake shoes will be resting against. go ahead and clean all the raised areas that you can see on this backing plate. Those are the areas that will hit up against your parking brake shoes. I'm going to use a wire brush for this. As we're cleaning this, we're also giving it a thorough inspection to confirm that nothing's rotted or weak. After cleaning that, we're focusing on our parking brake actuator. That's down along the bottom here. Typically, you do not have to fully remove this, but we do want to make sure that it functions properly. It has a small hinged joint right here. Now for this, if you were to just spin the wheel bearing, you're going to find that it has several slots in the hub. We should be able to pivot this as necessary so we can start swinging this out of position. Now as you can see, my hinge joint works perfectly. If you had to use some pliers or a hammer to get this to move around, you're definitely going to want to free this up. At this point, I'll just use some parts cleaner, give it a quick cleaning, and then I'm going to add lubricant directly to that hinged joint. Got some parts cleaner here. I don't feel any restrictions, that's good. Now I have some hinge lubricant, so I'm just going to use that in this area. Just a tiny bit will do, and we'll work it in. Just one more quick inspection in this area. This all looks good. We can tuck this in and behind the wheel bearing hub. It's time for some high temperature caliper lubricant. There's going to be several areas that we'll add some lubricant to, right along this area, right here, 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 and then the same on the other side of the backing plate. Now it's time for our adjuster. We need to make sure everything functions properly on this as well. So we're going to completely de-adjust this and take it apart. With that disassembled, go ahead and clean it up with some parts cleaner, and we're going to add lubricant. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Once you feel as though you have it cleaned up, let's continue on with some copper anti-seize on the threaded portion of that adjuster. Now when installing this, we want to make sure we have it going into the proper port. Looking at this, if you were looking at the adjustment cog, you can tell that one side's a little bit longer than the other. We're screwing this into the shorter side here. I'm just working all that lubricant as we continue on. A little bit of anti-seize on the far end there. Slide that right in there. Work that lubricant in. Oh yeah. All right, now it's time to install our brand new parking brake shoes. When we go to install this, we're going to have our anchor pin making its way straight through the parking brake shoe, and it's going to go into the backing plate. If you were looking at the very tip of our anchor pin, you can tell that it has those two small ears on it. It's essentially a flat blade with those ears. It's going to have to slide into this groove. Once you have it pressed in so both of those locking ears are in and past the backing plate, go ahead and give this a quarter turn, locking it in. Just go ahead and give that shoe a quick wiggle, confirming it is secured with that anchor pin. When it's properly locked in, it should go from being straight up and down to completely side to side, not at an angle in any way, otherwise it's not completely locked. With that shoe in place, we're going to insert our lower spring right inside this circular port right here. Let's try to bring it across back side of that wheel bearing hub. Let's use my pliers, try to get it set in there. Now I'm holding on to this other end of the spring with some pliers. We can start installing our forward shoe. We're just going to go ahead and carefully stretch that spring until it goes into its mounting port. Just make sure we press that all the way into that parking brake shoe. We do not want this coming apart while we're driving down the road. Now I'm just going to start pulling that shoe into its mounting point down along the bottom of that actuator. We can make our adjustment for that spring as we continue on. There we are. We can see the actuator right there. It's going right into that lower slot on the shoe. Now up along the top, it's time to install our upper mounting spring. We want to make sure we have it in the proper orientation. Looking along this area, you can see that we have this flat line that makes its way across. We want to have that in the lowest position possible, closest to the wheel bearing, so we have plenty of room for our adjuster up along the upper portion. Start getting this in position. We're going to start with one shoe and make our way over to the other. Once the spring's in there, we're going to apply outward pressure so we can install our adjuster directly in the center area here. When installing the adjuster, make sure you have it in the proper orientation so we have the threaded portion of the adjuster facing towards the front of the vehicle. Just make our way right along one side of the parking brake shoe there. We'll slide that into position. You can go ahead and spread this apart. You can use your hands if you want, or just use a small prying device. Just be extremely careful for any pinch points. It's time for the next anchor pin here. You know what to do. We'll have it so it's facing straight up and down. Line it up, press it in, and then lock it in with a quarter turn, one direction or the other. Double check both of your anchor pins, confirming that nothing has shifted or moved in any way. Also, go ahead and give each one of your pieces of mounting hardware a quick inspection as well, making sure that the springs have not dislodged themselves. Now let's continue on to cleaning up the hub mating surface here. If you have any miscellaneous debris, just go ahead and use a wire brush and some parts cleaner. Continuing on, we're going to clean the back side of our brake rotor on the mating surface here. You can use some parts cleaner, wire brush if necessary. Let's apply some anti-seize to the mating surface on our wheel bearing hub. Let's get ready to install our brake rotor. Should slide right into place. Now continuing on, before installing the rest of the brakes, you're going to want to make an adjustment for your parking brake shoes. To do that, on your brake rotor, you're typically going to find a small rubber plug. You should be able to pull that out of place using a small screwdriver if necessary. A quick inspection, you will be reusing it. Now we're going to have to make our adjustment with that adjuster that's located behind this area. For this, I'm just going to use a flat blade screwdriver, and we're going to turn that adjustment one way or the other as needed. For making this adjustment, what we want to do is start adjusting it outward a little bit until you feel a little bit of pressure on this brake rotor, just a little bit of noise. Once you do hear that, back it off a couple turns, confirming that you do not feel very much drag. If you do have drag and it's trying to cause resistance, that's going to cause heat, and that's going to make things expand, and your brakes might lock up on you. Let's make our adjustment here. See that right there? That's too tight. Let's back it off. Perfect. Once it's properly adjusted, make sure that you protect the area with your protective boot. Just go ahead and slide it right in there. Now we can get the caliper in place. Let's slide this over the brake rotor. We'll align each one of our mounting bolt ports, start those in, snug them up. After that, torque them to 62 foot-pounds. I've got some blue thread locker on my threads. If you find you have a hard time getting your torque wrench into this area, go ahead and use a wrench and we'll give it a couple taps with a rubber mallet confirming it's tight. One last quick inspection in this area, we can reinstall our wheel. Once we have the wheel up in place, we'll go ahead and start on all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts. We'll bottom them out, get the wheel safely on the ground. We're going to torque each of the lug nuts to 83 foot-pounds. Now that we have the wheel safely on the ground, we can torque these to that 83 foot-pounds in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Okay, friend, we finished the installation of one side of the vehicle's parking brake shoes. The process for one side of the vehicle is the exact same thing as the other. Once you've completed both sides, you need to confirm your adjustments proper as far as functioning your emergency brake. It needs to hold. Aside from that, go ahead and pump up that brake pedal till it's nice and firm. Take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.